Report story. Ah, it's been a week since we've been out the house. The mountain is a nice place, but it's nice to get out of the house and into Sapporo every now and then. Isn't that right, Izuku? Izuku. Ochako called. Ochako and Izuku had come from down the mountain and were now walking down the street in the early morning. The sunrise hadn't even fully risen yet, though Ochako was full of energy. Izuku, however, had nothing but worry on his mind. Ochako stopped her skip, turning on her heel looking for her green-haired boyfriend. Her eyes eventually found the boy, robotically and slowly walking along the path behind her. Ochako sighed. Izuku, what's wrong? She asked, putting her hands on her hips. Izuku, who had caught up to her, stood straight up, hands perfectly at his sides. He resembled more Iida than anything. Nothing's wrong. Why would you say that? Izuku stuttered, staring straight ahead. Ochako puffed out her cheeks. Izuku, what are you so nervous for? We've been dating for months. If anything, I had it much harder. You threw it on me last second. Casually too, Ochako said, trying not to smile. She couldn't let Izuku see how much she was enjoying this. Serves him right for when he threw meeting his mom on her after the festival. I mean, why yes, you're right. But like that was a new relationship. My mom didn't expect anything. Your dad could ask so many things about the past few months. What we do, what we have done. Oh God, I can't tell him everything we've done. Izuku said, beads of sweat dripping from his forehead. Ochako, however, sighed. We haven't done anything, Izuku. Not from lack of trying though. Ochako had mumbled that last part. Worst we've done is take a shower together. Which you initiated, she said, crossing her arms, smiling. I wasn't thinking straight. Izuku said, rubbing the back of his head. And you know, we were going to do it if Bakugo hadn't interrupted. Ochako teased further. Izuku turned on her. I thought we were talking about how we haven't done anything, he said loudly. Ochako burst out laughing, tears forming in the corner of her eyes. This is great. Izuku, I love you so much. Ochako said, holding her sides. Izuku did not find this amusing. Why are your parents in Hokkaido? Why here of all places in Japan? I thought they were away on a construction trip. Izuku asked as they started walking down the path again, Ochako taking Izuku's hand. Izuku stiffened at Ochako's touch, looking around for any sign of a man who may have even slightly resemble her. They returned, and their next job is here in Sapporo. Isn't that great? Ochako said with a large smile, now completely gripping Izuku's arm. Izuku would have usually been happy about this if it weren't who they were going to meet. I haven't seen them in so long. It kinda sucks we have to see them so early, but we have to keep a low profile. Still, it'll be good to see them again. Ochako said. Izuku saw a small opening. Oh, so you haven't seen them in a while. I don't wanna intrude on a family reuniting. I'll meet them some other time. Besides, Hima needs to still be taken care of and oh. Eri. Yay, why leave Eri with Ka-chan alone so often? I think I'll just go in. Ochako's grip became steel. Izuku nervously looked down at the girl's eyes. Her pupils had disappeared, leaving round white, dangerous eyes. Ochako's fighting eyes. They, specifically, requested, you, come, Izuku, Midoriya, so stop, understand, she said dangerously. Izuku gulped. Why yes, I understand. he said quietly. Ochako's bright pupils had returned and her smile bright. Promoted stories. You'll also like. Revenge of the wronged hero who happens to be. One could have thought that someone as pure and innocent as Izuku Midoriya would be betrayed by his friends who he thought that he could trust with everything he has. Captured by Love. BNHA Villain Redemption a 136K 2.9K Izuku. Midoriya has never felt more confused. Being a villain has taught him to never get attached to anyone, because they'll either end up betraying you, or you'll be. The Black Lady of the Night. Vigilante hero was out one night and saw a person fighting a whole group of villains all by themselves, but the problem is that they're badly injured and no one knows. The Life of Zero, 17.2K 486 Izuku. Midoriya wanted to be a hero his whole life and was bullied for it since he was quirkless. Izuku Midoriya was told that he would never get a quirk by his doctor. Different 83K 1.5K Deku is the number one hero. He has fame and money, but he doesn't care much for either. He wants something more but doesn't know what. That is until he meets a very interesting. I Hate and Love You. 259K 4.6 Con. IzuOcha fanfiction where Deku and Uraraka had a fight in kindergarten which led to something worse. But maybe they can be friends or perhaps more. Non-Quirko rated. Shining Light 42.7K 928 Quickless. Normal. No heroes or quirks. So Izuku Midoriya and Ochako Uraraka have been best friends since kindergarten. But when problems in high school try to drift them. Great. Izuku sometimes forgot how scary his girlfriend could be. Izuku sighed to himself, making sure Ochako couldn't hear him. What was he doing? Trying to escape and not meet them. Yeah, he was scared, but Ochako had done it. She was nervous and she pushed through. He was her boyfriend. He was going to have to do this eventually. Izuku started taking repeated deep breaths to try and calm himself down. Ochako watched as Izuku tried to pull himself together. She couldn't help but be a little annoyed at the fact Izuku had tried to escape, but it was Izuku. He's gotten much better, but he still isn't used to this sort of thing. The only other parents Izuku had met was Endeavor. And maybe Bakugo's parents, but did that really count? Frustrated as she was, Ochako had nothing but faith in Izuku. Maybe she should show that a bit more. Ochako put a hand on Izuku's back as they walked and leaned her head on his shoulder. Izu, I love you. I really do. You are my world. Ochako walked a bit forward and turned to be face to face with Izuku. She put her hands to his cheeks and brought him in for a deep kiss. She slowly pulled back and looked into a slightly red Izuku, who hadn't been ready for the sudden burst of affection. My parents already know how much I care the world about you. Please relax. I've made it clear just how wonderful, special, important, and so many more things you are to me. They practically already love you. So please, just enjoy yourself. Izuku stared into the deep brown eyes of Ochako, taking in all her features. He smiled, his heart rate finally coming to a normal speed. Really, he could be adult sometimes. Sorry, Ocha, you're right. I think just other things are affecting my thinking about this. I need to calm down. He took her hand in his and smiled down at her. Don't worry. I'm fine now. I can't wait to meet them. Good. I'm glad. Ochako said, returning his smile, pecking him on the cheek. So how close are we? Izuku asked, looking up the street, his confidence once again returning. Izuku. We're already here. My parents are right there. Ochako pointed to the condo to the left where a tall man with brown short hair and a woman, long hair greatly resembling Ochako stood, staring at the two of them. Ochako waved with a smile. The supposed mother waved back as her also supposed father stood, apparently comprehending the scene that had just unfolded in front of him. The color instantly drained from Izuku's face. Hima sat up in her bed. She still felt weak, and it took all her effort to sit up, however she managed. The food and water Ochako and Izuku had been bringing had given her much needed strength. She didn't know how much longer she could have lasted. Though now she had time to wonder. How had she stayed alive for so long without any kind of nutrients? Izuku had seemed surprised that she was still alive. Happy, but surprised. She looked at her bony hands. A wave of sadness had rushed over her. She wished she could be with them. She hated this lonely feeling. However, this was better. Maybe when she was healthy, she could join them. Hopefully. If they accepted her. Izuku and Ochako seemed to accept her. But the other one, Bakugo. Hima slowly shook her head. No, she couldn't be negative. Izuku and Ochako in just these past few days have done a lot for her. She couldn't be ungrateful. That was mean. Friends were not mean. Izuku said he had a lot of exciting things he wanted to do with her. Maybe there were things he needed help with too. Friends help friends, right? She could be helpful. Her quirk could help. She took a deep sigh, before perking her head up a bit. A figure walked into the dusty room. Hima looked emptily at the darkened person. Who are you? The shadow raised an eyebrow. How are you sitting up? Last time we were here you couldn't even open your eyes. The man said. He turned around towards the stair entrance. Oi, our subject here is sitting up. He called out. The darkened figure of a woman walked up the stairs and took a look. So she has, she said quietly, curiosity in her voice. Hima felt something she had not felt before. Was this nerves? Fear? She wanted friends. But something felt familiar about these new faces. And that familiarity was telling her they were not good. They were bad, 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 bad. Please, leave, Hima said, her usually monotone voice now shaking just a bit. Why was she reacting this way? The man and woman stared at her. Does she actually remember us? The woman asked the man. He shook his head. Doubted my quirk is permanent. They can't regain the memories I took from them. You know what they say about amnesia. Your brain will forget, but the body remembers. She's having a instinctual reaction. It doesn't explain why she looks healthier though. If you can consider that healthy. He said, gesturing at the skeletal body in the bed. The woman stepped closer to Hima's bed. Tell us, Oshagiri. How did you do this? How are you getting better? Was it your quirk? Is it finally making progress? She asked. Hima remained quiet. Suddenly, the man and woman felt nauseous and looked around. The room was warping slightly, warping even more as time progressed. The woman shook her head. She won't tell us something is different about this time than the last time. Do it. We'll investigate another way. The liberation can wait a bit longer for this month's results. She said. The man shrugged and started walking forward, holding his head to deal with the nausea. No, stay back, Hima said, but she couldn't raise her arms to resist. The man raised his hand and put a finger to her forehead. The light in Hima's eyes slowly faded away as the room returned back to normal. Time to forget Oshagiri. Time to forget until next time. Where stories live. Discover now.